Ecclesiastes 8, 1-8 says, "Who is as the wise man, who knoweth the interpretation of a thing? A wise man's wisdom makes his face to shine, and the boldness of his face shall be changed." I advise you to keep the king's commands, and in that regard, the oath to the Lord. Don't be hasty to go out of his presence. Don't stay in an evil thing, for he does whatever he pleases to do with you. Where the word of a king is, there's power. Who can say to him, "What are you doing?" Who therefore keeps his commandments shall feel no evil thing. And a wise man's heart discerns both time and judgment. To every purpose there is time and judgment. That's why the misery of man is great upon him, for he doesn't know what shall be. For who can tell him when it shall be? There is no man that had power over the spirit to retain the spirit. That is, no man has power over life to retain life within him. Neither does he have power in the day of his death. And there is no discharge in that war, neither shall wickedness deliver those who are given to it. Now that's a mouthful I just told you guys. To unpack that would take quite a while. But what I can tell you is it's a good word for today. The first thing you need to understand here is that someone who is wise can discern not just what he should do, but when he should do it. And because of that, what is called time and judgment, it's better to consult someone who is a ruler, who has to deal with that all the time. So when we wake up in the morning, we don't tell God what to do. We look to God for advice on what to do and when to do it, because everything operates in a particular time frame. Now, to help you understand what this scripture I just read said and how it's relevant to us today, I would like to tell you it like this. In Wonder Woman, Hippolyta says to Menelipe, the less she knows, the quicker, the less soon Ares will find her. See, it wasn't the time for Diana to know exactly who she was, the nature, complete nature of man, and who Ares was. And so at the right time, she got to know this. And at the right time, she got to understand what a hero was. So without giving away the movie, because I know some of you haven't seen it yet, my point is that when I get up in the morning, I read scripture, I say, thank you, Lord, for life and strength and health, and please take charge of my day. I'm not saying that as a matter of words. I'm glad I'm alive in the morning. And I'm glad to give my life cognitively and consciously to the Lord, because I know He has experience in handling daily events and what would happen. And I don't tell the Lord what to do. I prefer if He tells me what to do, because He's got great insight, like Zeus, who created mankind, and Ares, who did not understand mankind. And I don't want to go into too much, but just to say that Zeus, to me, since we talk about Jesus, the word Jesus is actually Greek for son of Zeus. G meaning son of, Zeus. Zeus, okay? That's where it came from. Greek mythology can easily be applied to Christianity and vice versa, because even though the Greek law has a lot of other things going on, it does in many respects overlap, and there's similarities between the mythos. So, by the way, his name is not Jesus. His name is Joshua. It's more like Joshua, okay, which interpreted means Yah, God, Osh, with Shua, us. Okay, God, Shua means save in, I think, Hebrew. And Yah means God. God saves, deliverer, Messiah. So Jesus just simply means Messiah or deliverer, like Moses and all of these other guys. So it's not, again, something where we say Jesus now, and that's because of the Greeks. And even Christos. Christos is not a... Christos doesn't mean Messiah. You can go and check out what the word Christos means. Alright? It comes all the way back from the Persian roots, the Hindu roots, from Krishna. Okay? And the corruption of Krishna in the Greek is Christos. Okay? And it means bearer of the light. Okay? It means the enlightened ones, or bearer of the light. That's what Krishna means. So, see, a lot of people don't know these things. But, hey, that's besides the point. The point is, I'm trying to say, that I commit myself to the Lord every single day, because He has experience in timing and judgment and weighing scales. And Diana in Wonder Woman, she learns about timing and judgment and weighing scales, and she becomes a little bit wiser. She's not completely wiser, but as she recounts the story, she explains, she gets a little bit wiser about mankind. See, what she learned about mankind, I can't summarize here without spoiling the movie, so I can't. But I would love to. I was about to, but I have to stop. Alright, so guys, I hope you enjoyed so far what I've been saying. I've been matching it up with comic book movies, the scripture, because, you know, there's a lot of overlaps between comic book lore and morality and all these other things. So I decided to match this up with the comic book lore. If you're enjoying what I'm doing, even if you're someone who's not a Christian, don't believe in Christianity, don't believe in God, it doesn't really matter to me. Because at the end of the day, what is important is the qualities. The qualities. And nobody's going to deny that the qualities that we speak about are admirable. And that's the important thing. When I was listening to Christy Marston, who's the granddaughter of Charles, he called himself Charles something else. Charles Moulton, I think it was. But he's really Charles Marston, right? William Marston, sorry. She said people from all different spectrums of life all agreed and loved Wonder Woman for her virtues, her qualities. And if you really want to know something, God, if you believe in God, and if you don't, it doesn't really matter. God doesn't want us to see Him as a figure, as some physical form. What He really, and this is why we said we're made in the likeness and image of God, what He really wants us to have and to pay attention to and to worship is His qualities, His virtue. That's what all these comic book movies are about. Qualities, virtue, things you can use in your life from day to day to day. We call them, sometimes we call them spiritual things. But at the end of the day, it's practical. It's things you can use in your life from day to day to day to help out your fellow men and to live peaceably among people. This is what God wants us to have. So when we talk about attributes like love and being peaceful, being kind, being generous, being gentle, these things sound weak in this world. You got to get ahead by being competitive. You got to think about yourself. No. God says, let us be selfless. Let's think about other people. And if you think about it, if you're selfless and you think about the world around you, your world gets so much huger and much more enlightening and so much more rewarding. When Jesus said it is better to give than to receive, that precept we heard in the movie Pass It On and so many other movies. Because at the end of the day, these things make us think bigger. Make us think not just about ourselves, but about other people, how they are feeling, how they're relating. And we get in contact with a bigger world. And suddenly we are in touch with the bigger world. To have empathy for another person, this is what the Bible preaches. This is what some of these religious books preach. So if you really whether you're an atheist or not, these are desirable things to help us to live together with each other well. And you guys see this in comic book movies and you covet it. Yeah, Diana can kick ass. Oh yeah. But that's not what makes Diana Wonder Woman. A lot of superheroes, female superheroes, can kick ass. That's not why Diana is Wonder Woman. It's because she cares. As a little girl said, who was speaking to the lady who wrote the secret history of Wonder Woman, Jill Lepore. She was, she had this girl in her place. She was an orphan. Her parents had died and everything. And she had all these, in her office had all these comic books. It wasn't hers. She was not into comic books, but she had all these comic books. And the little girl, she sees all these comic book heroes. And she starts to separate the comic books into two heaps. So she's looking at all the Superman comic books and stuff. And she's stacking up Superman and Batman and Spider-Man and all the other comics. And then in another set, separate from all those comics, is Wonder Woman. She just had that whole stack of Wonder Woman. So Jill asks her, she said, why do you have two separate stacks of comic books? And the little girl looks up at her like, I mean, you're going to ask me that question? And the little girl says, she helps people, pointing to the Wonder Woman comic book. She's looking at all the covers and titles, and she's asking more and more about this Wonder Woman character, and Jill is trying to explain to her. So Jill's like, why are you so fixated on that comic book? Well, how about these other comic books? And she's like, she helps other people. See, the little girl could see herself. And not only could she see herself, but she was an orphan taken from her family. And so she's speaking from that view lens, saying, Wonder Woman could help me, and therefore I could help other people. And a true superhero helps people. That's what a superhero does, right? And so this little girl could see herself in Wonder Woman. And a lot of times, and Wonder Woman appeals to just everybody. It doesn't appeal just to little girls. But little boys can't see themselves in Wonder Woman. I want to grow up to be like Wonder Woman. Yeah, maybe in virtue, but not in not in costume and stuff. You know what I'm saying? I see some people wearing that tiara and gauntlets. The gauntlets are cool. The sword is cool, but I ain't wearing no damn tiara. Sorry. Hell no. I know it looks like a crown and all of that, but no. I like Antiope and all of that, but no. You guys, I know you guys just clowning, so it doesn't bother me one bit. I know the guys are guys. I get it. But I'm just saying, I ain't wearing no tiara. And I ain't wearing no Wonder Woman outfit. It ain't funny. Hell no. Now, actually, it's not that bad, because the outfit that Wonder Woman actually wears is what gladiators of the day do. I mean, she had the little cups for her boobs and stuff. But other than that, it's basically a gladiator gear that men and women of the time wore. Okay? So it's not really removed, but I just ain't wearing it. I don't want to be confused. I'll go and wear Achilles' costume. I'll wear even Maximus Meridius' costume. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't wearing Wonder Woman costume. Hell no. I ain't Wonder Man. I ain't Wonder Con. I ain't Wonder nothing. I'm just saying. No disrespect. I'll wear Steve Trevor's costume. Hell, I'll wear Charlie's costume. Shit, I'll wear Samira's costume, Sammy's costume. Man, I'll wear the Chief's costume, but I ain't wearing no Amazon's costume, and I ain't wearing no Wonder Woman's costume, okay, y'all? Don't even try it. Don't come near me. I know it's more or less the same as, the men gladiator stuff and stuff, but I'm a man, you know what I'm saying? I'm not a woman. I ain't trying to be. It's called Wonder Woman. I ain't Wonder Woman, you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. Alright, guys, so yeah, Oxmox has come out with a prototype. It's a full-size prototype statue of Wonder Woman from the movie, and it resembles Gal Gadot. It definitely does. There you see here, that looks like Gal Gadot from afar. When you get a little closer to the statue, however, here's the facial features of the statue here. Let me just zoom in on the facial features here. It it kind of resembles Gal. It does kind of resemble Gal, especially from the side here. You can get a kind of Gal-like look. But I think it looks like Scarlett Johansson a bit because, you know, Scarlett Johansson's face? Yeah, you can see it. I'm sure you guys can see it, right? You can see Scarlett Johansson. I'll tell you why it doesn't look quite like Gal. See, Gal's got a lip that kind of peaks down here a little bit more sharply. And the other thing is Gal's got this little beak here. You got to get that little beak. She has a little beak in her face. So they actually got the Scarlett Johansson look down pat here. And Gal's face is slightly twisted. So yeah, from the side here, this really does look like Gal. This definitely looks like Gal. But it's just, so that means they got the contour of the face right, but they didn't get the little beak. You got to get that little beak there. I'll show you guys what I mean in another statue, right? But they did a pretty good job. Since it's a prototype, you guys got to get more definition into her face. So this is peaked a little bit more, and there's a little beak down below. But you get that, and you got Gal's likeness almost fully down pack. All right, because this statue is pretty darn good, well done. You know, it's pretty good, and I think it costs quite a good sum of money, I think, to get the statue, but it's still dope. All right, but it's a prototype, so they can polish up on that. You got to kind of get more beak. Everything else about this face is fine. The cheekbones, everything else about her is fine, except you got to get that little beak there. And this little dips a little bit more. All right, just that little beak, and you got it. So there it is from the side. Again, it kind of looks like Scarlett Johansson because the prominent beak, the mouth is not quite fully developed properly. All right, but otherwise it's pretty dope. It's pretty dope. And you can see the likeness of Gal with a certain shading, but you got to get that beak. You got to get that beak right. Okay, and then you got her. You got her from the side. See, they got the contour. Everything's just the beak that's missing there. You know, I think the nose is a little too high too. Maybe the nose is a little bit too high. That might be another thing. Gotta check it, make it a little longer. But yeah, Gal, man. Gal Gadot. Yes, sir. Now, this DC Collectibles has one statue in it. Everything else don't look like Gal. All the other statues I've seen don't look like Gal Gadot. But you see this training Wonder Woman outfit with Gal as Diana of Themyscira. That's Gal, and there is that little beak I was talking to you about. And then again, the top here it dips a little bit more than usual. So you got to get that, and then you'll get the prominent features of Gal. Let me just zoom in a little bit more here so you can see what I'm talking about. So there you go. That's all that they need to do. See? Let me show you it again. Look at that. I'm just gonna zoom. All right, zoom out on her. Okay, this is really awesome. Look at this thing. DC Collectibles. They did a hell of a good job on this statue. You know, it still needs a little bit of shading, and the hair here, the hairline needed to be. They need to put some more detail into the hairline, but it's all good. This statue rocks, man. It rocks. Here's somebody collected the statue and they brought it home and they assembled it. And man, that thing. I mean, this is narrowed down. The picture is kind of narrowed down. I don't know if it's because of the camera or what, but the details on this sucker, man. This thing's worth every penny. Whatever it costs, pay for it because it's really, really good. The only thing is the hairline here. That's not as well done. They didn't take enough time to do the hairline properly. But other than that, this thing is, I mean, it's a splitting image of Gal. Look at that. They didn't, the other thing they did, which was a good thing, is they didn't really shade here too much. I think with the other DC Collectibles that they had, they shade the mouthpiece way too much. But again, Gal's face, mouth kind of dips a certain way and dips in a certain way. And the only thing is this does not look good at all. But other than that, everything else is great on this figure. Everything else. Look at that. Let me just zoom in. That's definitely Gal. That's definitely Gal. 100%. I love the costuming as well. All the details in the costuming as well is just perfect. Look at even the lasso. I mean, it's a little dark, but then the lasso is usually dark until she lights it up and uses it. skirt. They got all that sculpting was just wonderfully done. You know, here she is from the side. Just look at that. That's Gal, man. I mean, you can't miss it. You know what I'm saying? And again, the sculpting is just fantastic. When it comes to the sculpting, it's just spot on. Shoes and everything. It's wonderful. Here she's from another angle, from above. And definitely that's Gal from above. Gal is actually 6 feet tall, folks. She's a big, tall. She's elegant, but she's strapping, man. Look at that. Look at her muscles from her back. She's slim, but don't get it twisted. She's strong. And she looks like an athlete. You know, like one of those basketballers, long jump, sprinters, rock climbers, that kind of shit. You know, just very athletic. She's big and she's tall. She's very tall. People don't know that. But it is what it is. Here she is again. Look how broad her wingspan is. The shoulders. She's very broad shoulders. She's big. Okay. When I looked at the behind the scenes action when she's fighting Robin Wright looks diminutive compared to Gal. Gal looks like this big, tall, hulking person versus Robin Wright. Robin Wright looks so small compared to Gal. Gal is a big, tall. You know who else is big and tall? Connie Nielsen. She's tall, man. She's tall. And Connie Nielsen put on some muscle in that film. When I was watching her and seen all her biceps, she's big hulking biceps. I was like, damn. You know what I'm saying? I think the smallest person on that set probably was Robin Wright. She was the smallest because all those other women were tall and big, strong. Even when I saw Ann Wolfe, who's 3-time world champion boxer, heavyweight boxer of the world champion. When I saw Ann Wolfe up in there and I saw, you know, she looked huge, man. She looked huge. And Ann Wolfe, again, is a big, tall woman. Strapping, you know what I'm saying? She's like Muhammad Ali's daughter, Layla Ali. Layla Ali, I would love to see Layla Ali in a movie. But Layla Ali, again, is big. She's big. You know, she's strong. You know, these are not small women at all, you know. This is the only action figure of Wonder Woman that actually resembles Gal Gadot. You know what I'm saying? And this is from Mezco Toys. The 1/6 scale. So this is very, very small. So we went from full size to half, basically 1/6, 1/6 scale. And this is now 1/12 scale. So this is half a foot or 6 inches tall. So we have a 6-inch tall figure here. We had the 12-inch tall figure, and then we had the 6-foot figure. And for such a small figure, the detailing in this thing has the closest looking face to Gal Gadot. Of course, the face is great, but it doesn't sculpt into the body necessarily as great as other figures do. But that's besides the point. They sculpt the face really, really well. There it is. She looks a little older than she normally would look as Gal, and you can tell it could be it's like a head sculpt onto a body, not so much, you know. If you pay attention to it a little too much, you would feel that way. This shading and everything really fits really well, nicely. Look at that. That looks really great. All right, that looks like Gal's face there, definitely, and she's blocking a thing. Now the body sculpt is not as great as say a Hot Toys or even I forgot what the name of it is right now, but they have really great articulation, and just the proportionality and everything is great. It'll come to me in a minute. Medicom's Toys, okay? Medicom's Wonder Woman, but the likeness is really, really good. It's really, really good. I mean, this kind of looks like a head popped on a body, so it doesn't really feel that great, but you know, this looks great too, you know. So, I mean, the sculpting of the head, though, is really well done. This is from the actual movie. You see the tank falling in the background, like that. And you saw her even use some super speed in. You saw her use the super speed in the movie, so that was pretty dope. But yeah, this figure is the closest action figure I've seen to the likeness of Gal Gadot. Now, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what the actual toy will look like. This is what they were showing, so I don't know how good it really looks in real. And finally, the statue from Kotobukiya. Kotobukiya did themselves with this statue here of Wonder Woman. Really well done. Let's see if I can get this in the middle of the screen. Maybe not. But what I want to do is just show you the likeness of Gal here. Look at that. That's from one angle. Let's get another photograph. There you go. And this is the actual statue on a countertop. So I really like this. It's a little bit exaggerated, of course. I don't like the particular pose. It doesn't feel strong at all. But other than that, the work they did in Kotobukiya and bringing this figure to life is phenomenal. It's phenomenal. Okay, there it is again. Again, there's a little beak stuff that's going on. The nose is a little long to try and exaggerate sort of like Gal's features. So that's what they did there. There it is again. So, like I said, these are the most closest two figures to Gal Gadot's likeness for Wonder Woman. So we have the Kotobukiya figure. In action figures, we have the Mezco Toys figure. In DC Collectibles, man, out of them all, DC Collectibles really impresses me with this statue. The only thing, like I said before, was the hairline. It's just not that great. But DC Collectibles, when it comes to this figure, man, they did a remarkable job. Not even Kotobukiya actually does as good a job as DC Collectibles did with that figure. That's their best figure actually out there as well. This is the best figure they possibly could do. This has definitely captured the likeness of Gal. Definitely. That is so spot on. And then now we have we got Oxmox. And they have some work to do. But when it comes to the finish of this figure, it really looks beautiful. The only problem, like I said, is they need to kind of accentuate the mouth. Accentuate the mouth a little bit more, and also maybe extend the nose a little bit more, maybe, or maybe not even touch the nose, just accentuate the mouth a little bit more. I think they got Gal there. And this is the full-size figure, so that's really fantastic. So there you go. I just wanted to share you guys these different figures of Wonder Woman. These are the best likeness of Wonder Woman out there you're going to find. Hot Toys, they're really trying. Hot Toys is really trying to get that likeness down packed. And I would put in Hot Toys into the equation just to be kind to Hot Toys. The training, though, again, Hot Toys has great quality, great standards. But the training outfit of Wonder Woman and Wonder Woman in training outfit with all the accessories still needs some tweaking with the face, the cheekbones, and the mouth. And the same thing for the Wonder Woman toy. Even though the Wonder Woman Batman v Superman toy has been, you could see they tweaked it a bit, but they had to tweak it a little bit more. You got to tweak it just a little bit more. You want it to look something like this. You want it to look like the DC Collectibles Wonder Woman training outfit for Diana of Diana Mascara. Look at that face and try to go for that. That's the look at the cheekbones here. That's the cheekbones there, and then the mouth. You got to get the mouth right with all the little intricacies. You see, Gal Gadot's mouth is slightly twisted, and because of different sides of her face, there's slight differences in the way how the mouth is. You got to get the shading on the lips right, so that you can actually accentuate her mouth. Her mouth's kind of beak-like. So once you get that, just get the contour of the cheekbones and the face and the mouth, you'll have nailed it. But you got to get that now. It's subtle, but you have to get it and be able to mass produce that. And once you can do that, you're in for a great time. So that's what DC Collectibles was able to do. This is their best figure. All the other ones, her riding on the horse, her with Steve Trevor statue, they're not good. Okay? They look like some other person. But when it comes to, and I know that they sculpted it correctly, it's just when they have to shade in, they just don't do a good job of shading it in. So, DC Collectibles' best figure, if you got to go buy a DC Collectible figure of Wonder Woman, is the Wonder Woman training outfit. Okay, here it is. Wonder Woman training outfit. 12-inch movie statue. Okay, I don't know. It's not. It's more than likely not $150 US. I don't know what MSRP means, but I don't think it's that expensive. But that's definitely worth your money's worth. Okay. We know that Mezco Toys figure, that's an $80 figure. I guess for the likeness of Gal's face, they do it. But again, the likeness of Gal's face may not exactly match the likeness of the body. So you got to always check out the body and see if you like how the body looks as well. But it is the closest action figure I've seen to his body. Kotobukiya did an excellent job with this figure of Wonder Woman movie statue. They got even though they exaggerated, they got most of the features of Gal Gadot in this figure. So they did a great job with that one. Yeah, but still, I think hands down, the DC Collectibles figure is actually the best figure out here when it comes to the likeness of Gal Gadot. I thought it was Kotobukiya for a certain period of time. Then I thought it was Mezco Toys, but no, none of those. They pale in comparison. This is like standing up watching Gal looking at you. I mean, they did an excellent job on this one. This is the best figure so far out of all the figures I've seen. Hot Toys, all of them. And Hot Toys had one that kind of approached the likeness of Gal. From afar, this figure here, from afar, looks like Gal. Because of the shading and how they did it. When you come a little closer, it kind of looks more like Scarlett Johansson. But they almost got Gal. They don't have much more to go. They just have to get that mouth right. The beak area. I think everything else is Gal. So they get the mouth right. And maybe a little bit more on the nose. Maybe or not. I don't know. Maybe they don't have to touch the nose. If they get the mouth right, I don't think they'll even have to touch the nose. So they're close, but they're not there yet. Okay? Alright guys, on that note, you guys have a great one.